This is not just a truck. This is a statement of power. Because in a world where trucks are getting softer, quieter, more refined, backhand index pointing right, one machine decided to go in the opposite direction. The Ram 1500 TRX. And the moment you hear that name, you already know something is different. Because this isn't built for comfort first. It's not built for fuel economy. It's not built to please everyone. Backhand index pointing right, it's built to dominate everything. And the craziest part? It looks like a truck, but it moves like something that has no right to exist. Because under that aggressive body lives an engine that completely changes the rules. Backhand index pointing right, a supercharged V8. Not just powerful. Backhand index pointing right, violent. And the moment you start it, you don't just hear it. Backhand index pointing right, you feel it. A deep, thunderous growl, mixed with a sharp scream of forced air. Like the engine is warning you. Backhand index pointing right, be careful. Because this is not the kind of machine that waits for permission. This is the kind of machine. Backhand index pointing right that takes control. And the moment your foot touches the throttle, everything changes. No delay. No hesitation. Backhand index pointing right, just instant, aggressive response. And suddenly, this heavy off-road beast launches forward like it's trying to break reality. Because what you're feeling in that moment is not just horsepower. Backhand index pointing right, it's torque. Raw. Immediate. Unforgiving. The kind of force that pushes you back into your seat and makes your brain question what just happened. And that's when it hits you. Backhand index pointing right, this is not normal. Because trucks are not supposed to move like this. They're not supposed to feel this fast, this alive, this aggressive. But the TRX? Backhand index pointing right, it doesn't follow rules. It breaks them. Because this machine was not built to compete. Backhand index pointing right, it was built to dominate. And once you experience it, you realize something terrifying. Backhand index pointing right, there is nothing else like it. Because under the hood lies the reason this truck exists. Backhand index pointing right, a supercharged 6.2-liter HEMI V8. Not small. Not quiet. Not controlled. Backhand index pointing right, built for one thing, power without apology. And the numbers? They don't just impress. Backhand index pointing right, they shock. 702 horsepower. 650 lb-ft of torque. From a full-size pickup. Let that sink in. Because this is not a lightweight sports car. This is a truck. A massive, aggressive, off-road weapon. Moving with the force of something much smaller. And much more dangerous. And that torque? Backhand index pointing right, that is what defines the TRX. Because horsepower might win arguments. But torque? Backhand index pointing right, torque wins the feeling. Is what hits you instantly. What launches the truck forward. What makes the TRX feel like it's pulling the earth beneath it. And once that supercharger kicks in, everything becomes more intense, more aggressive, more alive. Because this engine doesn't deliver power gently. Backhand index pointing right, it hits hard. And keeps pulling. And keeps building. And never feels like it's slowing down. And that sound? Backhand index pointing right, it's not just noise. Backhand index pointing right, it's identity. A deep American V8 growl. Mixed with the sharp scream of forced air. Creating a sound that doesn't just turn heads. Backhand index pointing right, it demands attention. And that's why the TRX became a legend. Because it doesn't try to be balanced. It doesn't try to be efficient. It doesn't try to be logical. Backhand index pointing right, it chooses power. It chooses aggression. It chooses chaos. And in a world full of safe, predictable vehicles, backhand index pointing right, that's exactly what makes it special. Because the Ram 1500 TRX is not here to blend in. It's here to remind everyone what happens when engineers stop holding back and build something purely for thrill. Because when that V8 pulls, when the torque hits, when the truck launches forward like a beast unleashed, you don't just drive it. Backhand index pointing right, you experience it. This is not just engineering. Backhand index pointing right, this is controlled chaos. And at the center of it all lies the heart of the monster. Backhand index pointing right, the supercharged HEMI V8. Big power. Big sound. Big attitude. This is not just a truck. Backhand index pointing right, this is the definition of a torque monster.